Good evening, people, and welcome to BNR, and welcome to another special edition of the Red Zone. We're absolutely a matter of days away from the start of the Premier League season, but there are so many questions to be answered in regards to Liverpool's transfer window and their transfer policy. But all that to come, all that to come. But in the meantime, let's discuss who maybe we can get through the door in the next week or two until the transfer window closes. Is it the 31st? It might be. But forgive me for going blank for a second. But who better than to sort of bring on than the man himself, the godfather of transfers, Fabrizio Romano himself. But he's going to come in around about 10-15 minutes. That's the sort of the arrangement that we have within the first part. We'll make sure these guys are up to scratch because they've been very, very ill. They might sort of been scrubbing up well but just before the show, but Avi and especially Sarib sent us a selfie around about 2 days ago. I'm surprised he made such a recovery, but maybe that head and shoulders and that Tibet creeper it does wonders. But let's go around the table just to check everyone's body temperature and how they recovered. Who wants the sympathy first? I think it has to go with the young lad. Sarib, how you doing, man? How you keeping? But you look a lot better. You look a lot better.
No, honestly, this whole last week, man, I couldn't eat anything. I couldn't go outside. I couldn't do nothing, man. I tried to go work yesterday. Left about 3 hours into my shift. But they gave me some antibiotics and some other things. And alhamdulillah, I'm better now.
Avi, how you doing? You keeping well? You've been all right. COVID, is it?
Yeah, just
I didn't think that thing existed anymore, but you showed me your test. It was positive.
no. Since last week, it's just been bedbound. You guys know I haven't even been able to get out of the bedroom. But yeah, a little bit better. Health wise, all good, all good.
Let's see how the anti-vaxxer is doing in Turkey. Jin, how are we doing, man? Sat in Turkey at the moment. He told me he sat in some boardroom. Maybe there's some boardroom decisions to make at Liverpool, but I'm BNR as well. If you didn't turn up today's show, there would have been a decision. But how are we doing, Jin? It's a lot better weather out there, isn't it?
Yeah, to be fair, I'm back on Wednesday, but it's been really good. Bit of work, enjoy the sun sort of thing, and can't complain. Just I've been hoping that Fabrizio give us some sort of good news in regards to some sort of signing. So I'm all good, can't really complain.
Yeah, just to confirm, he'll be in here just under 10 minutes. There's over 700 people here in already. I'm sure you're waiting for the big man, but until then, please like and subscribe. We've got so many things coming your way. We're taking it to the next level. Just to sort of give you an idea of what we're doing in coming into the season, we'll be doing fan cams outside the stadium, engaging with the fans outside Anfield and all the away trips that we do on a weekly basis. We'll be doing studio shows as well. Just behind me, as you can see, there's a few cameras sticking out as well. So please, I know it looks bad on screen, but we're doing a few bits and bobs. It's not finished yet, but it's nearly ready. And when it is, we'll be giving you and providing you so much content coming your way. So smash a like, get engaged with the comments. We've got Avi looking after the comments today. So if I don't put your comment up today, please, it's not me. It's the blue chip himself. Look at his eyes going up and down. He can't keep up, but he's got an idea of how to keep up with the chat today. So he always gives me a few stick, a bit of rubbish as well after show. But let's see how he does today. But until then, I'll come to you and discuss what's coming in the next few days as Liverpool are concerned. Gene, we're scoring a lot of goals in pre-season. We look really, really good going forward. But the other way, we are looking leaky. We conceded a lot of goals last season, especially before the system change, and we're still conceding goals. And a lot of people are saying, look, we just need to go back to basics. But there are a lot of things that are wrong at Liverpool at the moment in terms of leaking goals and how open we are looking when we're going the other way. But what do you make of generally sort of Liverpool in pre-season so far?
Look, generally speaking, Asim, like you mentioned, going forward, I think we're a complete breath of fresh air. We score goals for fun. Every single one of our forward-thinking forward players is scoring, and so there's no qualm in terms of our forward play. In terms of the defense and the midfield, there's issues all over the shop. We just look leaky in every single game, not against opposition, which are, let's say, the lesser sides. We've had one decent game, and that was Bayern Munich, and even in that game, we conceded 4. So in all, if you think about it, we're conceding we conceded 10, 11 goals in the space of 4 games. That's madness. That's actually madness. And I know it's just pre-season, and we take pre-season with a pinch of salt, but it's simply not good enough. And it's because the truth is we haven't done enough in the transfer market, and players have gone. They haven't been sort of replaced. And I know we've got 2 weeks left in the transfer market, so it's gonna be a tough 2 weeks. We've got the first league game coming away to Chelsea. Then we've got Bournemouth, another away game to Newcastle. That's 2 tough away games within the first 2 weeks of the season. And if we don't do the real business, let's say, which I believe is at least 3 players, if we don't do that, it's going to be a difficult season if we don't bring in the correct players. And it's not just about bringing any old player. These are players that have to come in and go into the starting sort of 11. So it's a tough one, man. It's a tough one, and I'm struggling to get to grips with how bad Liverpool have done in this transfer window, especially the amazing start we had, in the transfer market. Max, Szoboszlai both came. We were like, you know what, we're ready for this, and this is hopefully going to be the transition season. But it's just gone completely backwards from then.
Sorry, there was a lot of eyebrows raised when we sort of moved away. Whether we moved away from Jude Bellingham or Jude Bellingham rejected us is another issue, and it's another debate for another day. But the point is that we weren't getting him. But I accepted it at the moment that we bought in 2 guys who, as a collective, it filled holes. The holes that we sort of showed last season in McAllister and Szoboszlai. But the sort of jubilation, excitement, towards those 2 players has slightly gone towards a bit more concern, because especially we've been caught off guard over the last 2-3 weeks with Fabinho and Henderson going to Saudi Arabia. The Liverpool fan base at the moment, it's fair to say they are concerned, because this wasn't the plan. All of a sudden, Curtis Jones is playing 6 for us, and that even Jurgen Klopp would admit that wasn't the plan.
No, absolutely, that wasn't the plan, and it's like with Liverpool Football Club, we take 5 steps forward, we take 10 steps back. We have done this for years and years and years. The reason why we're in this mess today, I think, when the Jude Bellingham news broke about us not, articulating ourselves into that transfer, a lot of fans were looking at FSG with eyes thinking, right, this could be a long summer if we don't get the personnel that we need. And we're 2 or 3 months, 7 days till the season starts, and we're literally looking at FSG thinking we are in serious trouble. Fabinho and Henderson being sold was this club showing intent moving forward from the older regime. Signing Szoboszlai and McAllister showed that as well. But to do nothing after that, after knowing this had to be our biggest rebuild under Jurgen Klopp, and to sit there and do absolutely nothing about it, for me, it's a disgrace, and it's why we're in such a mess as a football club. We speak every show, we sit here and speak about FSG and what they need to do to take the clubs forward. But they've done so much for the decline of this football club, and I'm tired. I can't give them any more chances, because what are we doing?
Avi Sareb asks, what are we doing? Have you got any thoughts on it? What are we doing? With literally days away from the Premier League starting, and Curtis Jones, like I said, is starting in the DM. Surely we have to caveat all of the sort of today's discussion that there is still time to put things right. There have been a lot of wrongs during this transfer window, but a week, a day even is a long time in the transfer window, and Liverpool can still make a statement. Obviously, the players would come in and bed in and need be time to really sort of integrate within the squad. But there is still time, Avi, to really go and make a statement and back this manager.
It is, but Asim, it seems as if we've had a promising start with the signings of McAllister and Szoboszlai, who are 2 fantastic footballers, and we thought that was going to be the norm for the rest of the transfer window. But it's been nothing short of negligence, and we've said this every summer since we won the league. That summer of 2020, when we brought in Sepp van der Berg, Elliot, and Adrian, we brought them after winning the European Cup. We bring in Thiago and Jota, but we didn't do enough in that window. And the window after that, and the window after that. it's just been negligence. Last summer, we brought promising players in Calvin Ramsey. Unfortunately, the young lad gets injured a lot. Fabio Carvalho, another potentially a good player, came from Fulham. Darwin Núñez was always going to be a project first year. We didn't buy anyone established. We had just been on the cusp of completing football, and we didn't buy any players that were already sort of performing well in Europe, who at that 24, 25 age, that perfect age where they come to another club and just elevate the game even further. We brought sort of project players, and I include Darwin Núñez in that, even for 75 million. It's been negligence at the very top. Even with our boardroom changes, with Michael Edwards leaving, Julian Ward sticking out for 9 months, something doesn't sit well there. And then, George Shumatke coming in, again, what has he done? What is his role? If the role is for Klopp and his team to find the players, why aren't we pushing? Why aren't we executing the players? We've got a week to go. Klopp does not like scrambling during the season. The first few weeks.
Just to interject, and I'm sorry for that. But George, what's he supposed to do? I know he's got a lot of stake. Maybe he's working from Ibiza, sat down in the sunshine doing jack all, but I'm sure he's still making calls. Only a manager, a sporting director, generally speaking, is only as good as their budget. And if he's working under sort of tight financial constraints, then what is he supposed to do?
But we don't know that either, Asim. We don't know that. At the end of the day, him coming in he's coming on an initially 3-month role. I don't understand what that 3-month role is. It's as if he's on probation.
Is that his fault or Liverpool's fault?
I think it's the club's fault. But who's making that decision? I doubt FSG knew who this George guy was, prior to him being appointed. Who's appointed this guy? We get told that he's Klopp's close friend, but the guy said, I don't have any personal relationship with Klopp. It's usually with Klopp's agent that I have a relationship with. So I want to know who's made this appointment, because I doubt John Henry knows who George Shumatke was prior to his appointment. So it just looks a mess all around the club. Lavia, we're scrambling whether he's worth 50 million or whatnot. Listen, if you want him at the club, you pay the money. End of. They shouldn't be getting him for 45. What's another 5 million? And the defender as well. We are missing a defender, but it looks as if Klopp is sticking to his guns, and he's got this blind faith on Matip and Gomez, who he thinks will not only be fit for the rest of the season, but will perform well. I'm not buying that.
Yeah, I like that noise. When we get that noise backstage, it means someone's coming, and it's only right we add the main man, Fabrizio. Fabrizio, it's always a massive pleasure to myself and the panel to welcome you on BNR. How are you keeping, my friend? How are we doing?
Ciao, all good. Thank you again for the invitation.
Good stuff. Well, let's crack on and get straight into the business end of things. Liverpool. Fabrizio, last time you were on, there was a bit of excitement, jubilation, as we had those two men in Szoboszlai and McAllister through the door. But there's a bit of a concern now amongst the Liverpool fan base. But can we get a here we go in the next few days when it comes to Romeo Lavia from Southampton to Liverpool?
I think it's very possible. At the moment, it's not yet a done deal, so I can't guarantee that. But as a possibility, yes, because from what I'm hearing, Liverpool will be in contact again with Southampton. They've been speaking with those close to the deal also during the last 2-3 days. So everything is under discussion. Of course, it's not an easy deal. And let me mention that in general, Southampton, I think they're doing a very good job in terms of negotiations, because they did the same with Newcastle with Tino Livramento. Many people thought that the player was maybe available for 20 or 25 million pounds, and they always said 40, and at the end Newcastle ended up paying 40 million pounds, add-ons included. So they want important money. Okay, they've been relegated, but they want important money for their players, and this is their strategy, and this is what Liverpool have to respect if they want to close the deal. But I think they understand this message very clear, because they had two approaches rejected, 37 million pounds and 42 million pounds. I think they will return with new conversations at the beginning of next week. So I think it's going to be an easy week and an important weekend. I think in general, what I wanted to share on what you mentioned is also what I feel on social media about Liverpool fans being a bit concerned with the timing of the transfer market. But I would say don't worry, because they are really working on different things. They are on it. They know very well that they need players. It's normal when you lose players like Fabinho and Anderson to find some replacements. So work in progress. Things are happening, and don't worry.
Fabrizio, I've been living in this sort of dreamland in the last 48 hours. I've been under the weather as well, but for me, I've been thinking maybe the reason we haven't pulled the trigger on Lavia is maybe because a certain player at Real Madrid may be available. I know you're going to probably shoot down the rumor, but Aurelien Tchouameni, I know Real Madrid need money. We all know that they want to finance this Mbappe deal. Is there any hope that you can give me and Liverpool fans? Could there be a deal there that we could pursue if the Lavia deal doesn't happen?
I can tell you the reality at the moment from Real Madrid. They have not changed their position. They still consider Aurelien Tchouameni a crucial player for them. They have no negotiations ongoing. So at the moment, while we're speaking, there is nothing. And also on player side, he wants to fight for his place at Real Madrid. So I don't think this is an easy solution. Then never say never in the market, because maybe it could change in 1 week, in 2 weeks. But today there is absolutely nothing ongoing. So we know that Liverpool are super fans. You already mentioned that last time when I was here. I told you how much Jurgen Klopp loves the player and also other people into the club. But at the same time, Real Madrid, I don't think they are desperate with making money with players to sign other players. I think they have a very good financial situation in general. They already sold some players by saving some big salaries like Karim Benzema and all the others. So at the moment, they are not desperate to sell any player. So it would take something really huge in terms of proposal to change the situation around Aurelien Tchouameni.
Just a quick question. Sorry, I wanted to, in terms of the midfield, we mentioned, I wanted to ask you in terms of what's going to happen with Lavia and Andre. Is it possible that Liverpool go and get both of the players in this transfer market? Because, of course, there's a massive gap in our midfield right now, and I feel as though we need a minimum 2 signings in that department.
I think it's possible they could sign 2 in case they find 2 players. As always, we know you know better than me how Liverpool work on the market. They sign when they feel that the player is the right player. This is why sometimes it happened that Liverpool were not signing players despite people expecting new signings, as it happened last summer. And sometimes it happened that they did surprising signings with Cody Gakpo, for example. So they want to find the right player. And I think if they will find the 2 right opportunities, they could sign 2 players in the midfield. At the moment for Andre, I'm told that it's very complicated because the market is closed in Brazil, so it would be impossible for Fluminense to replace the player. They believe at Fluminense that this player could be in the middle of a very big transfer race in January or maybe next summer, because they feel there could be many clubs included into the race for Andre. So at the moment, I think it is going to be difficult. Then from Liverpool, there is appreciation. It's true. They had some conversations with the player side, but Fluminense are very clear. They have no intention at all to sell the player.
You're on mute.
Sorry, guys. Fabrizio, in terms of the Lavia deal and the evaluation that Southampton have of him, the 50 million, this third bid, do you think Liverpool, if it does get rejected, will that be the final bid from Liverpool? Or do you think Liverpool is sort of really keen on getting this over the line next week?
No, honestly, on this I don't know, because it's something that they didn't communicate and is not decided. Also, in the conversations they had with the player side, they were not saying like we will do the final bid and then we walk away. This message was never sent to Romeo Lavia's camp or to Southampton. I think it's not just about the amount of money, but for example, in how many years they will pay this money, how many installments, or this kind of details. I know we never mentioned this kind of details when we mentioned an official bid, but these are important things, especially for a club like Southampton that will use part of the money to reinvest and to be back in the Premier League next season. So these kind of things could be crucial in next week, not just we bid for 45, 46, 48, but also how to structure the bid, how to structure the add-ons, how easy the add-ons will be in this new proposal or how difficult. So this is something really, really important to Southampton, because speaking to people at Southampton, they believe that Romeo Lavia is a really fantastic player, and they believe that 50 million pounds is a fair price for a player who maybe could be available for way more than this in one season. So that's why I think Liverpool know that very well. It's part of the game to bid for 42, for 37, then 42 when the request is 50. I think Liverpool will try to get there by using add-ons, by using a smart conversation with Southampton, also in terms of how to activate the add-ons and how to structure the deal. But for sure, they will try again at least one more time.
We can offer him a friendly behind closed doors as well, Fabrizio.
I don't know. I'm not the director, but they can find many solutions. I'm sure they will try again.
Sally, you were going to say something?
Fabrizio, just before I ask the question, just to say your work that you do on the transfer market on Twitter is amazing. Everyone appreciates all the work you do. Obviously, I don't know how imminent this is or how popular this is going to be with the Liverpool fans, but I heard on Twitter and quite a few rumors about Liverpool looking at Dewsbury Hall. I wanted to know how much you knew about that and if that's actually a realistic target for Liverpool. And if so, where can we go from there?
At the moment, I don't have anything confirmed or imminent on that one. Then, as I always mention, in the final weeks of the window, if you told me 1 year ago Liverpool will sign Artur Melo on deadline day, I was like, okay, it's impossible, because sometimes the final weeks of the window are full of surprises. So at the moment, no. At the moment, it's not something imminent. And I think Liverpool, as they always did, will go target by target. So now the focus is on Romeo Lavia. I'm sure that next week the focus will be on trying to get this Romeo Lavia deal done, also to avoid any possible hijack from other clubs, because Chelsea are still working on Caicedo, but there could be a possibility for Chelsea to sign 2 midfielders, and we know how much is connected Romeo Lavia to Chelsea director Joe Shields. So that's why the timing is also going to be important. But I'm still told today that Liverpool are the big favorites to sign the player and will have new contracts. So I think the focus is going to be on Lavia. Then we will see for the potential second midfielder and for the centre-back, because the centre-back position is still something that they are discussing internally.
So is that what you're saying, Fabrizio? Liverpool are probably going to get 3 signings before the end of the...
2 or 3 signings, depending on the opportunities. Yeah.
Fabrizio, you mentioned the second midfielder. I hope you get a second midfielder, but there's a lot of talk, I think, in the last 24 hours again, I think from another sort of German journalist who said about Ryan Gravenberch now, that he has been told that he could leave now Bayern Munich, and he's engineering a move away as well. Liverpool have shown kind of interest at the beginning of the summer. Is that something you've heard on your sort of trail, Ryan Gravenberch to Liverpool?
They love Gravenberch, 100%. It's about the director, it's about Jurgen Klopp. They really, really like the player, and the player is open to the idea to make a move. So Ryan Gravenberch wants to speak to Bayern again to clarify his position. What I can say is that Bayern are still on the same position in June, July, and also now in August. They don't want to sell the player. So they are sure that Ryan Gravenberch is going to be a top star of the position in the future. So it's not an easy conversation with Bayern when they say no. The only way to make it happen is on player side. So if the player goes there and say, okay, sell me because I don't want to stay here. At the moment, the player is concerned with the current situation because he wants to be a starter. He wants to be an important player, a regular starter. But at the moment, he didn't go there and say, okay, let me go. So, it's still something at early stages between Gravenberch and Bayern. And at the moment, Liverpool can only wait. It makes no sense to submit proposals or to start negotiations if Bayern don't want to sell. So the appreciation for Gravenberch is real, 100% guaranteed. But at the same time, it's not something imminent at the moment because Bayern are very strong on their position.
Can we reignite our interest in Manu Kone, Kefran Turan, Fabrizio? What's the sort of status in regards to them 2 midfielders?
Yeah, for Kefran Turan, as I always told you, the problem was that the package was considered too expensive by Liverpool. So for something in terms of transfer fee, but also salary. So there were many things that were concerning Liverpool when they had discussions for Turan. So let's see if they will decide to change the budget idea they have and so to invest in the player or not. And for Manu Kone, at the moment, is something that they considered end of May, beginning of June, but now is no longer a priority. So I keep insisting on Romeo Lavia, and I keep believing that Romeo Lavia is going to be the next signing.
Fabrizio, you mentioned the centre-back area that Liverpool are going to be hoping that we're going to be addressing. The names that are generally coming up are Inacio and Lukeba. Is there any truth in Liverpool being linked to these 2 teams? These 2 players?
At the moment, with Inacio is not something that concrete. He's a player they always scouted, but at the moment they've not made contact with his agent or with Sporting. So I don't have anything concrete on that one. And Lukeba is in very advanced negotiations with Leipzig. So there is a conversation very advanced, and it's possible that he could be the replacement for Josko Gvardiol. They are negotiating for both Lukeba and Gertruida from Feyenoord, and they will sign just one. So let's see if they pick Gertruida, what happens. But at the moment, Lukeba is in advanced negotiations with Leipzig, so it's not something concrete for Liverpool at this stage. For example, they've been following for a long time Mickey van de Ven, who is joining now Tottenham, to give you the idea of what kind of player they appreciate. They decided not to enter the race because they think that it was too expensive to go for 50 million euros package for Mickey van de Ven, and also because the player agreed terms with Tottenham a long time ago. But that kind of centre-back could be the idea. So a young player, a fast player, that could be the idea. And as I told you last time here, they would have loved the idea to attack the situation of Levi Colwill, because Levi Colwill is a player they really like at the club, but it was impossible because for Chelsea it was not for sale.
Is there any centre backs names out there, Fabrizio, that we can think about Liverpool going to hopefully go after?
I will let you know.
Out there right now.
But you know better than me how good they are at keeping their target secret. So I think this is good news, honestly.
Fabrizio,
So,
I might even put my boots on. You never know next week.
Fabrizio, you sound fairly sort of confident though that Liverpool are still going to be doing like at least 2 players in, whether it's a midfielder, defender, or whether it's 2 midfielders and defender. You're pretty adamant that Liverpool will do business with a week and a half, with 2 weeks to go.
Yeah, I think I don't know the timing because, you know, in the market sometimes if you asked me 1 week ago, probably I was going to tell you next week. So this week, Romeo Lavia deal was going to be done because it was very advanced. So, you know, the timing, it always depends also on other clubs, on agents, on players, not just on Liverpool. But I think in these final weeks of the window, I expect Liverpool to sign for sure 1 player, at least 2. And could be 3 in case they find a good opportunity. They're really working on that. They're having daily contacts. Then their style is to go player by player, negotiation by negotiation, because this is how Liverpool work. And I think it's a style. You can like or not like that, but this is their style. But I think they will be very busy in the final weeks. Yes.
Well, Fabrizio, go on. Sorry.
That's okay. Go on.
No, go for it.
So Fabrizio, obviously, you've made it very clear, and as all of us know, Liverpool are looking for a centre back. Would that be a stopgap signing, so a loan signing like Arthur Melo last season, or would that be a permanent transfer?
Honestly, the idea I had till today is that they want to sign a player. I mentioned Vicky van de Ven or Levi Colwill because they want a player for present and future, so not a short-term solution, but a long-term solution. A player could be an important player for the future of Liverpool and not just for the short term. But in case they can't find an opportunity in that kind of skills in the final weeks, we can't predict anything. So maybe in the final days they can find an opportunity on loan. But now the focus is still on an important centre back to bring in and to be important for the rotation, for the present, and for the future of the club.
And does Liverpool's incomings depend on any potential outgoings? We've seen, you know, Nat Phillips apparently in some discussions with Leeds, and there's still this talk of Thiago that keeps popping up, Fabrizio. Does Liverpool's sort of signings, the 2-3 signings that you talk about, do they depend on any potential outgoings?
No, I'm not sure at this point. For Nat Phillips, it could be a possibility because Nat Phillips has some bids, some possibilities, some interest from different clubs. And so this could be a possibility to watch. So this could be a potential domino in the defense. But in the midfield, I think no. After they sold Jordan Henderson and Fabinho, the idea is to go at least for 1 midfielder and could be 2 if they find the right opportunity. So I think they will be busy in any case. And for Thiago, yes, we still have these rumors because it's true that Saudi clubs are calling every single week for Thiago Alcantara to join them. But I'm still told that Thiago is really committed. He wants to focus on Liverpool. He wants to play for Liverpool next season and then to see what happens with his contract because he's out of contract next summer. So to see what happens this season and to make a decision later this year. But at the moment, he is not that tempted by Saudi proposals and he's really tempted by restarting with Liverpool in the best way. So I think Thiago will stay.
Fabrizio, there was talk months ago now, probably late last year, about investment talk, takeover talk. And, you know, our owner came out and said, you know, whatever the outcome, we will spend this summer. You know, and we kind of haven't so far. You know, we've recouped a lot of money for Henderson, Fabinho. I know we'd made the payment for Szoboszlai and McAllister. We got on a release clause as well. But like, is there anything that you've heard in terms of investment and takeover? Because it's, you know, I think it's fair to say it's imperative that a football club like Liverpool now gets to compete with the big boys in the, you know, in Europe, like the likes of Chelsea, Manchester City, who are spending lavishly. We don't have that. We don't have the riches of them. But is there any talk that you've heard of investment or any takeover?
No, at the moment, honestly, it's not something that I'm hearing in terms of something imminent. You know, I think this is something that could be discussed later this year, like September, October. Now is not something that they are discussing in advanced stages. So My answer at the moment is no, not something that close or imminent. Then, as you mentioned, sometimes in the market, for example, for Szoboszlai, they tried every single way to pay less than the close, or to pay the close in different installments. And Leipzig were now no for the whole week, and they ended up paying the close. And when you pay the release close, it's a big commitment in terms of financial fair play, because you have to pay that in a very fast way. So yes, I understand your point. It's true that some other clubs are spending big money in easier way, but at the same time, I think that we have to wait a bit for Liverpool, because in case they will sign Romeo Lavia and do something else in the final weeks, this could be an important window with McAllister, with Szoboszlai, with Lavia, and others. So I think it's not over yet.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Unfortunately, this is the part that we have to say goodbye to our friend Fabrizio. Thank you very much, as ever, on behalf of myself and the panel as well, at such short notice this time as well. So much love, big up, and thank you very much. And like Sarib said, we all echo those statements that continue your great work wherever you're doing it on Instagram, Twitter. I don't need to explain where Fabrizio Romano does his work, but we shall see you very, very soon. And hopefully we've got big smiles on in about a couple of weeks. But until then, thank you very much, and take care, mate.
Thank you, guys. Thanks to all of you. It was a pleasure. Thank you to all the Liverpool fans in the chat, and I hope to give you some here we go very soon. So thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
See you soon. Bye.
Take care. Guys, food for thought. Plenty of work. I think Fabrizio's message was that Liverpool are working. They might have to wait for the right opportunity. He mentioned the likes of Diaz and Gakpo, Sarib. But I think the fans' feeling now is why do we have to wait for the right opportunity at times? Yes, and Liverpool get accused of being assessing FSC, monitoring FSC, liking FSC, all these adjectives. But the point is now Liverpool face a critical decision, a critical couple of weeks that they need to press the button because the situation is very, very serious.
It's getting to the point where it's getting very, very serious, and it could end really, really bad. We had a poor season last season. This season could be even worse because we still haven't got a defensive midfielder.
Don't scare us, man.
No, I'm genuinely being serious. As a fan, I'm looking at next week, and I'm looking at our preseason results, the amount of goals we're conceding. Do I have any clarity as to what's going to happen with our midfield? None whatsoever. And I know all three of you and the chat, we all have the same thoughts, like who is and when are these deals going to be done? We speak about FSG all the time. We speak about Liverpool's transfer targets. I think Liverpool, they function in a way where they look at the transfer targets, and the first thing they look at is the price rather than the player. If the price is out of range, they completely cross him out regardless of his quality. And there has to be a time where we stop doing that, because we aren't going to progress as a football club if we don't put the money on the table. And that's all we've wanted all summer and the previous summers for Liverpool, just to take the checkbook out and pay the money for some players. Fabrizio Romano spoke about Liverpool looking at Gvardiol in January. He's just gone to Man City for 77 million. Are you telling me Liverpool Football Club, the mighty Liverpool Football Club, we are one of the top 5 earners in the world, don't have 77 million for for the best young centre-back in the world? Come on.
Of course, I completely agree with you, sorry.
But before you go, Gene, there were just under 2,000 people in this stream. Please like and subscribe, guys. All it takes is one little click, and it means the world to us. It'll help us grow. All the algorithms, you know how it works, this world of social media. But please, all it takes is a little smash of a like button and engage with the comments. We like to bring and pin up as many comments as possible as the conversation flows. But Gene, you were saying?
When you've had to close down, when you've had to close down other Sunday shows on certain channels, that's when you know when you're big. Yeah. So please make sure those 1625 that are watching right now, make sure you like and subscribe. Yeah. Thank you.
Anyway, look, Asim, I'll be honest with you. Fabrizio coming, was I expecting full, massive, big on, exclusive? I probably wasn't, because I sort of knew where Liverpool are right now. And I'll be honest, I'm at the stage now, Asim, where I'm actually questioning everything, and I'm one of them who've never really gone out at the club or anything like that, because I've always said, and I even 2 weeks ago, Asim, I came on here and I said I was willing to give these owners till the end of till the 31st of August, because you know what, I thought they deserved it, and I was going to make a call around the 31st of August of how good they've been, right? Jordan Henderson, and this was under the illusion that, you know what, Jordan Henderson and Fabinho are going, and I was expecting at least in that week for Liverpool to be proactive and go and make and actually make a signing of, let's say, Lavia was going to come in. But honestly, Asim, I'm sick to death of it, because it's really getting to me. Why have we not bought in Romeo Lavia right now? Why is he not ready? We're going to play a 90. We're going to play Jones in the 6th against Chelsea. Week after that, we got Bournemouth, and then we got Chelsea, as I mentioned, another tough game. 2 away fixtures, which can arguably, in the first 3 games, we lose 2 of them fixtures. It's already catch up. And people can say, I put it on a tweet today, Avi. I know you just eyeing, but I put it in a tweet today. You might not win a title in the first 5 games, but you can sure lose it. And I just don't want to get to the point where at the start of the season it's catch up already. And with all due respect, Asim, I've watched, I've stayed quiet, but over the last few weeks, we've bought in 2 players over 8 weeks. What makes you think we're gonna bring in 3 players in the next 2 weeks? Give me something that's gonna say to me that, you know what, we are gonna actually do real business. Yeah, Klopp might be relaxed, and I was one of them that was probably relaxed.
Well, you got to give him to the 31st of August. That's when the window finishes, Gene.
Why should I give him to the 31st of August?
Because that's when the window finishes.
Yeah, but the first game of the season's in a week's time.
Yeah, but look, if Klopp hasn't thrown his toys out the pram, right? If he's relaxed about it, then we shouldn't be like, there's so much upheaval right now between Liverpool fans. He's saying, listen, I'm relaxed at the moment. Let's see if he does business this week. I know time is running out, but look, if he's already said, and he's had that meeting he had that meeting with Peter McDowell last week, and he said, listen, we will do business, and it's up to them when they do it.
That concern, maybe we shouldn't be effing and blinding. We should, you're right. I agree to the sort of extent that we should give these owners until the 31st, and then we really judge our window 100%. But that concern is justified, isn't it? We have to judge our planning right now. And going into the Chelsea game, nobody, and even Klopp, nobody envisaged was going into this game as Curtis Jones as our defensive midfielder. Nobody did. So
we're assuming that right now. We're assuming that he's going to be 6. We're assuming that Jones is going to play the 6. We're assuming. We don't know. We genuinely don't know who the 11 will be against Chelsea.
Who's the defensive midfielder in that lineup? Tell me.
I think
it's McAllister or it's Curtis Jones. For me, anyway.
Curtis Jones. He might play Trent in the 6, a lone 6, and play another right back.
Okay? And is that okay?
If Klopp is okay with going with that against Chelsea, who are we to argue it? Listen, we know business needs to be done. But I'm not gonna just like every day on Twitter I see all this upheaval. Listen, we're fans. We want the best. We want the best players coming in. Yes, we want Lavia. We want the defenders coming in. We want another midfielder coming in. But our manager, the guy who's in control of our football club, he's relaxed as anything. He's signing autographs in this and that. He's having a bit of banter with fans.
What do you expect?
Listen, he said it before. He said it in January. I only work within a budget. We saw frustrations from him in January. We saw frustrations possibly last summer. We haven't seen that yet this summer at all at the moment.
Avi, you keep saying about, we have to wait till the 31st of August. We have to look at it from a bigger picture. Anyone that we sign now, even Lavia, it's 1 week left of the season, will be a panic signing, just like last season. Arthur Melo, we only signed...
Lavia's not a panic signing.
No, not Lavia.
What he means is they need some time to bed in. That's what he means.
Yeah. So anyone that we sign after Lavia would be someone that we're panic buying because we needed these players 2 years ago. Anyone that we sign within the 2 weeks of the window closing is a panic signing. There's absolutely no doubt about that. We can sit here and look at the evidence. The amount of times that Liverpool have done this. Ozan Kabak, Ben Davis, Arthur Melo. Those are just 4 examples at the top of my head that we have signed when we needed elite players and proper players in those positions. And they gave us loan signings and players who are not up to the level. How many chances are you going to give FSG to do this when you keep saying we're going to wait till 31st of August? How many years and how many seasons are we going to sit here saying the same things until it's time to look at it from a bigger picture and be like, these lot need to sell this club because they're doing nothing to benefit us? You tell me how you can sit there and give them 2 more weeks when they have proved us wrong proved us right by signing no one for 3 years. Tell me.
I'm going off by my manager's words. I'm going off by my manager's words.
No, you're not. But your manager last summer...
Sorry.
1 second. Like your manager last summer said all our midfielder was fine. Did he not say that? And he said, you guys were right. I don't want to be in a predicament come November where my manager is going to turn around to me and say, you know what, you were right again. With all due respect to Jurgen Klopp, he's the best manager in the world to me. But everybody could see last summer that there was issue in our midfield, right? Everybody could see it. Yet we didn't. The players didn't come in, and we were not promised, but you know what? We were under the illusion that this is because Mr. Jude Bellingham was going to come in, and the fans accepted that and said, you know what? We were willing to wait because we were going to get our prize player that Liverpool thought we were going to buy. Fair play. Okay, we give them that. We didn't say anything. Jude Bellingham didn't happen. Then what happens? We lose 6 midfielders and 2 come in. We're playing Curtis Jones and Trent Alexander-Arnold have been playing in the number 6 position. I'm sorry, but this doesn't sit with me. You're signing a 19-year-old Lavia to come and play in the most important position in the Liverpool Football Club. Your backup is Bajicic, who again is a 19-year-old. So if you don't come to me and sit here and say to me that, you know what, this is all okay, all hardy-da, when deep down you know it's not all hardy-da. Because you're just up FSG's ass and you have been for a long time, Avi. That's the simple truth, bro. I'll say exactly how it is. You have to call it exactly how it is. Call it out. Because I'm sick of death of us sat here Asim, all the time, protecting my club, protecting the club. And yeah, we have been for a very long time. But if it is time to call it out, it's time to call it out. Yes, we're going to give them 2 weeks. I'm not saying FSG out, throw them against the wall. But if it's a concern, we have to concern. It's a massive concern, Avi. And you can't sugarcoat that by saying, give it 2 more weeks. I'm sorry, but they had 2.5 months to address this. We knew we needed a centre-back. He hasn't come in. Simple. Where's the centre-back then? You knew we needed a centre-back. You were saying we're going to spend 250 million in the summer. Speak.
So Asim, he's just mentioned, after his tyrant that he's had, tirade, he just mentioned last summer that Klopp said, I had 10 midfielders, tell me where I needed to invest, yeah? So surely we go off by Klopp's words, yes? We feel that, we go off Klopp's words, all this doubters to believers, everything. We always believe what he says, right? So he's equally as culpable, no? Is he not equally culpable? Is his judgment is his judgment so perfect that we can't judge him by the things that he says? He's relaxed, right? He's mentioned that a lot of this summer, relaxed. If we lose against Chelsea, right, are we still going to be relaxed? Or is he at fault as well? Is Klopp at fault as well here?
Avi, he's not an angel. We're not. Sheen is not saying that, and I kind of agree with Sheen. That Klopp is not an angel. I think when you started talking about if a manager is culpable, it all boils down to the investment at the highest level. I believe Jurgen Klopp is as good as Pep Guardiola. And Guardiola, when you mentioned that, it sort of reminds me of a quote where he said something like, one of the most dangerous things in football is not taking risks. And obviously, he wasn't talking about the off the pitch duties and the sort of dynamics with ownership. He wasn't, but you can still take that example and take that quote off the pitch as well as on it as well. Because if you don't take risks with a manager who has got a proven record of keep producing, signing after signing, churning out players who have gone from 30-40 million pound players to 150 million pound players. He's not an angel. He's obviously made mistakes like the Artemelo, not giving some senior contracts, 4-year contracts to senior players. We get that, Avi. But at the highest level, we just want this ownership. They've done good things, no doubt about it. The Accident Training Center, the sponsorships, and bringing Liverpool as a brand to a global brand, and waking up a sleeping giant, if you like. But some people
find it hard. Let me finish. I'm sorry. I'm not going to let you finish. I don't want to let you finish. I find it very hard to believe a manager who's had his hands tied behind his back for the best part of the last sort of 24 months, last 2-3 years, that he's still happy being here as a Liverpool manager. That shows me a lot about his ambition. About him working within a project.
Nonsense.
No, it's not nonsense at all.
Avi, what do you expect? What do you expect a manager to do?
If he wants to compete with Pep,
do a Conte,
he should walk. It's all about ambition as a manager.
Why should the situation? No.
He has enough player
why
power,
should the end game?
Avi, he has enough fan power. He has enough fan power, Asim, to actually go against the owners. He has enough fans on his side who won't go against him to go against the owners, but he doesn't. He doesn't for one reason. What is that? Because they support him.
To answer your question, a couple of months ago, he said, look, I'm not the decision maker. Sometimes I wish someone comes and surprises me. What more do you want? You can't not go all out, just like Jose Mourinho.
He'll be waiting a lifetime if he's looking for surprises from FSG.
What do you expect him to do? Come out like Conte? Because they'll give you a P45 the next day. Why should the end game, Sari, be Jurgen Klopp walking out the club? Why?
Klopp will never walk from this football club. And you keep saying if there was no problems behind the scenes, then Klopp would have walked a long time ago. That's not true. I am telling you right now, Jurgen Klopp does not want the fan base and the club from the top to the bottom be in turmoil. If he goes and turns, we've seen a lot of managers turn on the owners and turn on the directors of football at the club, and it's always ended badly. Jose Mourinho has done this numerous times. Chelsea, Manchester United, Chelsea twice, by the way, and it's always ended sour. Jurgen Klopp does not want to leave a sour taste from the top to the fan base. That if you start speaking out on FSG, I know us fans we voice Klopp's opinion if he speaks on FSG, but Jurgen Klopp does not want to cause unnecessary dressing room drama from the top to the bottom that could potentially impact Liverpool's football club. We're already in a transition period. We're already unsure about how Liverpool will progress going forward from now. Does he want more problems on the doorstep of the club? I don't think so. Jurgen Klopp's not that type of coach. He backs all his players, even the ones that he doesn't want at the club. He will still back the players. Arthur Melo did not play one Premier League game for Liverpool. Every time a question was asked of mine about Arthur Melo in a press conference, always said he's training very hard. He looks ready.
Look at his opening statement when he signed. Look at his opening statement when Arthur Melo was signed. He gives us variables. He gives us different options. He's had a tough time at Juve, but he's such a talented player. No. Klopp, guys, I think you guys are getting it mistaken. You got to remember, Klopp is very much a company man. Yeah, he's very much of FSG sort of policy and who they appoint. You can't say he's not a yes man.
So is everybody else. So is everyone else, Avi.
No, managers when they want to kick up a fuss, Fergie's did it. Wenger did it. Pep Guardiola has done it. Well, Pep Guardiola's got the riches of Man City. They give whatever they want.
What did Wenger do? What did Wenger do?
Wenger, when they moved into the Emirates at first and they didn't spend for a good 2-3 years, he called out the likes of David Dean. He called out the likes of the Chamberlain before Kroenke, pre-Kroenke. No, I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you the truth. If you want the truth, that's the truth. You can't just keep saying that everything. Listen, Klopp will never go against the owners. So I don't know what you guys are complaining about. He's very much a yes man.
Avi,
you can't tell me any different. He's very relaxed with Henry, with Henry, Tom Werner. No, you can't say that. Look at the situation at Newcastle.
Bar a few exceptions. Avi, you're not getting the point here.
Rafa spoke about the owners, right? And they ousted him out. FSG has got enough power. He has enough fan power. They won't get rid of him. But he needs to kick up more of a fuss. He can't just keep saying, I work within a budget. And right now, this summer, all he has said is, I'm very chilled and very relaxed. We will get signings in. So give it till the 31st of August. That's what he's trying to say. Give me till the 31st of August. We'll make sure we get the players in. So let's just trust Klopp's words.
Okay,
you are trying to say that he's not culpable to anything. He is to an extent. But what you're missing the point is the main thing is you're only as good as what you're given in a transfer budget. The owners are the main thing here, Avi. And this is what you're missing. We're not saying they're not doing good things in the Liverpool sort of era. How many years? About 10, 12 years? God knows how long it's been. We're not denying that. But you have to understand is, Avi, Klopp is a yes man. Call him what you want. I don't care. But you don't last in a job. But Sadib, you were going to say the stuff about, in terms of how much Liverpool have spent. How can you justify the expenditure of Liverpool over the last 4 or 5 years since we won the Champions League, Avi? We bought about 9
Your manager is happy going along with that. Your manager of the club at the helm is happy to go along with that. Who are we to complain?
What is he supposed to say? I even gave you examples. He's not going to turn on FSG.
He's not happy about it, Sarib. If he's not happy about it, he should look at himself, his ambition. He could get any job in the world. He could walk into any project in the world and say, listen, that's it. I've done my 8 years at Liverpool. I'm walking off. I've completed everything. I got you the European Cup. I got you the league. I completed every domestic cup that was possible. I'll walk away. After 8 years, who would begrudge him? No one would begrudge him. Let me tell you that now. No one would begrudge him. He could walk into a project, but why does he want to stick around at Liverpool? Why? Give me the reason of why he's sticking around.
Because as much as FSG, so is Jurgen Klopp. He has not helped himself in the last 2-3 years as much as FSG haven't helped themselves.
There's proving my point what I just said.
I'm just giving. We all know Klopp's to blame as well of this, but FSG are more to blame, and this is what you're not trying to understand. Because if Klopp was backed in the market to the level that we all expected him to, we would not be talking about Jurgen Klopp rebuild part 2. We'd be talking about Liverpool challenging for the quadruple and the treble again. This is what you don't understand. Because if FSG simply just put the money on the table and got Liverpool the likes of Gavardo,
I'm going to take that smoke off your face. Don't worry, I'll take
likes of Dembele, whoever we wanted, all these top players that are on the market going to Premier League clubs and La Liga clubs. Today we'll be talking about Liverpool going and challenging for the title. How many points are we going to win the league by next season? But instead, we're talking about, how are we going to get back in the top 4? Which is why FSG are the main problem, not Jurgen Klopp. Jurgen Klopp got us to the helm of the Premier League and the Champions League. When he was backed, by the way, when Klopp was backed, he delivered the Champions League. He wasn't back the next summer, but the squad as a whole was good enough to win the Premier League, which is what he did. Since that time, yeah, he has not been backed in the market. We've always been sold to buy. Even Van Dijk, Alisson, it was Coutinho. Coutinho was sold to sign those players. But finally, FSG pulled their purse out and gave us Fabinho, Keita, Alisson, whatever it was, and we won the Champions League. We just need that again, and we will win. It's simple as that. When you put money on the table for players, you will deliver success. Pep Guardiola is the perfect example. He spends shitload of money, or sorry for my language, but he spends so much money in the transfer market. And how many? He just won the treble last season. They've won 3 leagues in a row. For the last 5 out of 6 or 4 out of 5, wherever it is. The proof is in the pudding. Put the money on the table, and we will win. Simple as that. We are good enough and a big enough of a football club to do that. We have one of the best coaches in the world in a time where we haven't had a world-class manager for how long? Since probably Rafa Benitez. We have Jurgen Klopp, and we are giving him peanuts to work with. This is FSG problem, not a Klopp problem. Klopp is to blame, but FSG are the main struggle of this football club. And the quicker you understand that, the quicker we can move on and speak about what we need to do to get these lot out of the club.
Look, Asim, for me. One second. No. Abdi's just been schooled by him. He has got no rebuttal to that. Yeah, that's why I'm coming in, because I know he hasn't. He's just laughing. Listen, this is what Abdi does, Asim. You know, when we speak about his beloved owners, he always turns it around and says, Klopp, 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 Klopp. He won't actually go and start talking about the actual owners. I've realized that. And this is what he does. Look, Avi, what you have to understand is 2 months ago, we were on this channel. You came to me and said, you know what, mate? We're going to spend 250 million, correct? Net.
I don't remember that.
I don't. Okay, well, I do. Yeah. So you said you had. I can even bring up the graph. You said Anasio was there. This player was there. This player was there. And another player was there. We're sat here right now with a net spend of 35 million. So now you answer me that question. Are we going to spend 150 million in this summer to actually replace 2 midfielders, a centre back, and whatever, and any other player? No, you know that. Again, we're going to be sat here saying, you know what, lads, come 31st of August, guys, we've been sold short again. Because they played the game on us, we've been sold short again. And guess what you're going to do? Oh, what was your excuse last year, Avi? The money was there, but Klopp didn't spend it. Did you not say that to me last year? The money was there, but Klopp didn't spend it.
There's no recollection. There's no recollection of me.
Let me finish before you go. You said there was money there, but Klopp didn't want to spend it. What an absolute joke of an excuse that was, because what you were doing, you were basically sticking up for FSC then, which later was proven I was right. Now, and then you said in January when it comes, if we don't sign a midfielder, I'm gonna go for the owners. We're sat a year later, and guess what? 6 months on, we haven't signed a midfielder. We sat here crying about our midfield again, and yet you're sat here now looking at me looking like a dog's ass because you know you effed up. That's the simple truth, man.
Avi,
I absolutely love the passion that's coming out of Sarib today. Junior's woken up today. The elder statesman's found a voice. Only you left to cook. So I don't.
Avi, when things go bad and when you're stressed out, you get that toy out.
You're waffle. Get your waffle up. Listen, no. Look. All I will say is, look, I'm going to give it till the 31st of August before I hold fire on what I think of these owners, of what I think of Jurgen Klopp. Right? Let's just see. He at the end of the day, I'm going off by my manager's words. If he's relaxed, he's enjoyed his trip at Singapore, he thinks that we're prepared for Chelsea without a recognised 6, then who am I to argue?
Avi, don't you get the psychology of football management?
No, I don't really care. No, I'm just a football fan. I don't need to know the psychology. I'm just a football fan that will be supporting my team next Sunday at 4 p.m. UK time. I'm just going to be supporting my football team. That's it.
Avi.
Every single thing that Jurgen Klopp says in front of the cameras, we're on the eve of the Premier League's new season. Do you want him to come in front of the camera and sell his players out?
He's not selling anyone out. He could just say, look, we're still in the market for a 6. Or we're on the market.
Yeah, he said it. He said it last week. We're working.
Avi, you remember when Klopp came out last summer, there was a famous line which comes out all the time after linking midfielders. When there was a list of the midfielders he had at the club, and he goes, oh, what qualities are we missing in a player? Then literally 1 week later, he goes and signs Arthur Melo. So you think Klopp's opinion changed in 1 week? Of course not. He will never sell out his players. He was always keen on signing a midfielder, but he was told from the higher-ups there's no money for a midfielder. So he sat there in front of the press. When they asked him about midfielder, he said, we've got all the qualities we need, because he's never going to sell out his players. But like I said before, he doesn't want the turmoil to be within the club, because that's when we will start to question Jurgen Klopp, and he does not want that on his name.
I would never work for a company. If my hands have been tied, on budget and on spending and improving things for the last 3 years, and I know I'm a top dog where I can walk to another company and be the main man, I don't know what I'd be doing. I'd be lacking. I would actually question my own ambition. I would question my own ambition.
Would you leave Bonner if somebody give you more money?
Like, hey, listen, I've done it before on other channels. I've done it before.
He's got no one left.
I've done it before. Listen, Gina, you should be the last person asking that question.
You're not gonna leave. I'm telling you, you're not gonna leave.
No. These are beautiful segue because Gina, Sad. People that don't know Gina is Sad. Sad, you lured me away, right, from another channel. Yes or no? I was a top dog on that channel. You lured me away. So I'm telling you, it's ambition. It's all about ambition. It's all about ambition.
But are we risking the good work that Jurgen Klopp has done over the years by not just giving him a bit more? We're not asking for Chelsea money, Avi. We're not asking for Chelsea money. We're not asking. Well, we just want a bit of parity towards mid-table clubs, for God's sake. Look, that's what we're asking for.
All jokes aside, look, I've come for the owners this week, okay? And look, we do a show for an hour. We have a bit of banter, this and that. I got cooked 100%. Listen, let me tell you one thing, right? I said, I don't want to be looking at Klopp's tenure and saying, what if we got him 2 out of the 4 players that he had wanted over the last 2 years, and gave him what he wanted? What if, I don't want to be talking about 1 league title and 1 European Cup under Jurgen Klopp, because this team and this second sort of reset team that he's trying to build deserves so much more. And it comes back to the owners, 100%. Do we need new owners? Yes, there's no doubt about that. We've needed owners. And like I said, I don't want to be talking about what ifs once Klopp has relinquished. And God forbid the manager that does come in after 2026.
Avi,
this is my question to you. Okay.
We got super chat as well, by the way.
Look at that, Asim. 17th team in transfers in the Premier League this season.
It's shocking. 100%. It's shocking. It is shocking.
That is for the 1 second. That is for a team that's in transition. Who, with this summer, was supposed to be our transition summer, the legacy summer, and we're at 17th, lads. Come on, man.
Ash
just doesn't make sense at all to me.
And Ash says the same thing with his super chat. Thank you very much, Ash. If you just put it up, Gene. This is why you never do the comments.
No, I pressed it by accident. Avi, take over.
Who the hell is this?
I don't know what to do.
Who is this guy
coming on the show?
This is why we never give him the password. Bloody hell, man. You see yourself out. You see yourself out. There we are. Ash, thank you very much. He says 100% agree with Saj. 30 days since Sobo signed, all we've done is had 2 Lavia bids rejected. This squad could finish 2nd or 7th. Holes in defense and midfield, only Luton, Sheffield United, and West Ham have spent less. And this is sort of the reason why I'm saying this a critical 2 weeks for Liverpool. Yes, we can make statements. Yes, we can really bring in 2-3 bodies and really make a season of it. Because let's make no mistake about it. If anyone's going to do it, it's Liverpool. We have seen adversity in sort of previous years, and we go again. But a lot of sort of mental sort of energy was taken out, and a lot of fuel in our legs as well was taken out with that quadruple bid, and we saw the mental fatigue in the season after. But it doesn't matter how great of a manager you are, you need backing. You see that sort of interview with Guardiola, and any great manager, if you don't keep refreshing the squad year in, year out from a position of strength, then nothing's going to happen, because players are going to get too comfortable. There's no sort of sense of competition in the squad. And that's it. When a new player comes in the squad and gives everyone a kick up with the backside, you think, you know what? I need to go again. I need to raise the level. I need to raise the bar. But at the moment, over the years, it's not been happening at Liverpool. And this is why we probably stagnated as a squad. And now we face a situation where it needs a huge operation. Liverpool were the blueprint of succession planning on and off the pitch. But what happened when you have a lack of investment? All of a sudden, the squad becomes overaged, and then you face an operation like we're facing one now, where we've gone from one extreme to another, and this is why there's a panic in the fan base.
Look, Asim, you mentioned all of this, and I completely agree with you. When you don't plan, we win a title, you go and sign, £10 million players. But the thing with Pep Guardiola, what he does every single year, he will always go and buy one massive 70-80 million pound year just to get the refresh, where he feels this is one position which I need change. So what he does is he go and spend one. That's all we were asking, to go out and spend one or maybe two, if he not the second player doesn't have to be 100 million, 20, 30 million pounds just to refresh the squad. When you don't refresh the squad, this is what happens. When you don't plan, and this is the issue, we didn't plan for this, and this happened last year. We took a massive gamble and a massive risk, which completely didn't work out for us. And that's why we were sat and we finished 5th in the league, and we're sat in this position right now. But okay, fine. We were happy with it. We thought, you're not happy with it, but you know what? We accepted that last year was a blip season. Fine. Then this summer was to be the transition. Then this was a summer to go and spend and make these changes. And we're yet to see it. And I understand why the fans get up in a bit of an upheaval about it, because we've signed 2 players, 8 have gone. There's 2 weeks left of the transfer window, and we don't have a DM right now. Okay, we might have it in the next couple of days, but we still haven't done enough. And this is where the upheaval comes. Look, I wish and I'm praying that they do make business. But if you look at the history of the way they do business, do you really think 3 players are going to come in the 2 weeks? I just don't see it. And I hope I'm wrong, but I just can't see that happening.
Sorry, I was just going to come to you, but I've got a question for Avi, because he likes his Uncle John. But before that, Atik says, FSG, thank you very much, Atik. Big up for the super chat. He says, FSG structure has not will not change. They won't pay over the odds. They're set for a player. Once happy to sign someone, then they do that very swiftly. And we've covered that they have their sort of structure, and then they press the button on. If they're happy, they try to take advantage of the player situation, contract situation, or even ownership and financial situation, like we saw with the fast track of Diaz. Didn't we give him 5-6 million before that we actually got the deal over the line with Porto, because they were going to go into administration or something like that? But the fact is, we took advantage of that financial situation. But my question to you, Avi, is in regards to the ownership. What is the end game here in terms of being attractive as a business sort of business opportunity for certain investors or take over sort of companies to cover and take over Liverpool? What is the end game? Because in terms of being attractive, Liverpool were at the height or the peak of being attractive as a business proposal. But now, without Champions League, let's not forget, I just don't understand it. What is the end game? Or some people, there's speculation about there's some big massive project going on. It's called a Fenway project or Fenway.
It's the reconstruction of the development of Boston, the Fenway Stadium. Outside of it, they're doing a complex and all that.
Yeah, it's about 1.6 billion project.
Yeah, it's not being funded. It's not being funded by Liverpool, by the way.
It's not being funded, but it's not being funded. But where's the money going in terms of not investing in Liverpool? Are there sole priorities elsewhere? That's my point.
Yeah, when they own 3 franchises, it's hard to give one franchise the most sort of commitment. They also own the Pittsburgh Penguins, NHL team, and then they've got the baseball team, which isn't doing very well either. And then obviously Liverpool. The end game, Asim, I don't know. When we first heard that they were looking at investment takeover news, we were all optimistic that a takeover would happen at Liverpool. I think they've tried to look at the Manchester United situation, which again looks up in. No one knows what's going on there, whether Sheikh Asim is going to take over or whether Jim Radcliffe is going to provide the money from his Ineos group. We don't know what's going on there. I think they're just trying to watch the market. But at the same time, what they're doing is absolute negligence. If anything, they're damaging this team even more. With the likes of Chelsea spending, the likes of even Spurs spending, Arsenal have spent. Arsenal know, again, look, they need to spend more just to get onto City's level, and they could have done it last season, but they, fell short. Today they beat City on penalties. City are spending, like Gene mentioned, they went and got a Gvardiol. Did they really need him with Aki and the way he's been performing in the last year or so? Maybe not, but they've gone out and said, listen, he's going to be world-class within a year under Pep. And what are we doing? Yes, we've got Szoboszlai, and yes, we got McAllister, and we thought, okay, maybe the tide is turning. Maybe there's been a change of fortunes. Maybe we are going to spend. But it just seems we seem everything seems unplanned. Everything seems, we're linked with him. Koné, Thuram were the talk of the town 3 weeks ago. Now it's all of a sudden Gravenberch come back in, Lavia. I don't even know. We know what our targets are. And Klopp has always told us he knows the players that he wants to bring in. If plan A doesn't work, i.e. like a Jude, we will look at plan B. But I don't even know we've got a plan. Going into the last 3 weeks as well.
Sorry, go on.
Let me ask, are Liverpool a failing football club at this moment in time? Simple yes or no.
I can tell you after the first 5 games of the season. I think it's a great question, by the way. I think after the first 5 games of the season, we will know whether it's a failing football club.
No, okay, that's fine. I'm not talking about
As of
performance.
now, yes. As of now, yes.
Okay,
As
so
without any more signings, yes, it is. Yeah.
and Liverpool are a business. And if the business is being failed by its owner, what should the owner do? It's invest in the team. And the owner is not investing in the team. What should the owner do? Put the club up for sale. And that's why FSG are the problem. And that's what we're trying to make you understand. Because if the business is failing and the owners are doing nothing to fix that business, the business needs to be put up for sale, which is why the whole fan base is in turmoil.
But Sarah, what about if there's no company that's coming or there's no group that's coming that want to take over, that only want to invest initially?
But did they even have any intention of cashing their chips?
I think they did. As when you buy a product for 230 million, not that me and you will ever get that chance to buy a product for 230 million. We can't even scrap up £2.30 at the moment.
You never
But
know.
when you
If
buy
900, if 900
when you
people subscribe to the channel, we might do.
when you buy, hey, listen, I don't do this for money. Remember that. I don't. No monetary terms there. Listen, when you buy a business for 230, and you want to sell the club for 4 billion, 5 billion, and Liverpool are within their rights. You got to remember the owners are well within their rights to ask for that much money. 4 billion easy. If United are going for 6, 7 billion, that that the Glazers wants, Liverpool can easily be sold for 4 billion. But I'm not sure that there's been a takeover group as such that want to fully take over the football club. I think there's been investment talks, yes, about having a share of Liverpool, but I'm not sure if it's favouring the numbers that FSG won.
Well, here's a question. Jake is in the building as well. Big up, Jake, a massive supporter of the channel and the panel as well. He says the business and the product on the field don't always go hand in hand. Major misconception. Who wants to take that?
Avi can take that. He's a financial guru around here.
No, not by any imagination. No, he's true. Like no, like there's NBA teams that don't do really well. Michael Jordan just sold. I don't know which team it was. Someone in the chat might be able to know. I'm sure someone will say it. He just sold a NBA franchise for $3 billion or $2 billion, and they're not doing anything. I don't know which team it was. It was an NBA team that he sold. Sometimes, and it's true. It doesn't. What you do on the pitch doesn't always reflect on your brand either, away from the pitch either. Away from the sort of what you're doing, the success that you have on the pitch doesn't necessarily mean that you'll be sold for whatever. So it's true. It happens in a lot in American sports where Hornets, that's it, Charlotte Hornets or something Hornets. But Mehmeti, that's just said Charlotte Hornets. There you go. And they've not won the NBA championship. I don't think they make the playoffs. And they've just been sold for $2 billion. So what Jake said was absolutely right.
I understand that, but if you got your house in order, it generally sort of reflects on the pitch. Brighton, for example, so many great scouts, such a great team upstairs, and sort of the results with their manager working in tandem is just, we don't need to give Brighton's example. We had our own, Edwards and Co. working in tandem, having a proper scouting, but it sort of falls into that, sort of segues into that sort of question. Has Klopp got a bit too much control at the club? And what is the real reason of so many people upstairs leaving? Because the talk about sort of these guys leaving as well, a speculation in the last week or so was Liverpool are preparing for investment or a full takeover, because there can't be any other reason why so many people are leaving the club. Is it because they want their own men, they know investment's coming, or is there a manager now who's calling all the shots? What do you make of it?
Well, that's the comment that I was making earlier on when we were having that whole hoo-ha, when you guys were, cooking me, I said, look, there's something startling about Michael Edwards leaving, Julian Ward coming in. And Michael Woods, gave a great, a bit like your eulogies that you give Asim. He spoke great words about Julian Ward and saying, look, this guy's a successor. He's been under my stewardship for the last sort of year. He's the one who's going to broker deals from now on. And we saw it with Luis Diaz, Cody Gakpo as well. We thought Julian Ward, was here to stay. He's running after 9 months. Now, what is that? Is that because of FSG? Or is that because Klopp wants more control? I can't give you the answers. Only maybe later on in time we'll find out what the reason is. We've got George Shamatke in, but I don't know what he's done. I don't know what the work he's done either.
He's our Saturday boy. He's on probation.
Honestly, 1 second. Sometimes I think, and this might be a bit of a crazy take, the reason George Schmatica was supposed to come in was to go and get us some sort of players and make some sort of deals. Yeah, where are these deals? What has he done since he's been here? Because with all due respect, I'm sure Dom and McAllister were Julian Ward's deals. So what's this guy been doing? Is he just chilling out? He's got 2 weeks, mate, to basically sort himself out because he's not done all.
But whose appointment was he, Gene? Who do you think made that appointment?
Regardless of who's the appointment.
Honestly, truthfully, who do you think made that appointment? Because I'm telling you now, without any real source, John Henry would not have had a clue about who this guy was.
That's a problem.
Of course, he doesn't know. He doesn't. Of course, but with all due respect,
Where's obviously
any big what's his name, a massive owner's not going to know a director like George Schmatica. And for any club, that's just the way it is. But Dom and what I was getting to is, why haven't we made signings yet? What has he been doing for the past 6 weeks? I mean, nothing. I feel as though he's done jack all.
We know, Sarib.
Nothing.
What Gene is saying is, Sarib, is I think in Klopp's defense and George's defense, because I always call him George because I can't pronounce his surname.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
So George will have to do. But look, you have to give them a bit of, cut them a bit of slack. Why? Because nobody, and I think Liverpool, nobody expected the Saudis to come in for Fabinho and Henderson. And Klopp, who made the call and let them go, had the conversation of trying to keep them, but they were so sort of sold with their project and money, make no mistake about it, that they were off. And all of a sudden, our captain has gone and another senior guy has gone out of the squad. And Liverpool, I think, where they were at fault as a club, they've just faffed around for too long thinking the money is not going to come. Once it came, we were even putting public headlines out, trying to put the pressure on the Saudis and Al Ettifaq and Al Ittihad, saying, where is the money? Liverpool wasted time. So in Liverpool's defense, in Klopp's defense, they didn't see this coming. But once it came, then they had to plan a bit more. And we've seen the result of it. In the last 2 weeks, Liverpool have made 2 bids for Lavia, but not gone elsewhere in terms of centre-backs as well. We've not even really seen a proper centre-back link. We're leaking so many goals.
I think the Colwell talk was legit.
No, Avi, that's not. Avi, what was that? Was that him just using us for a better contract?
Because he doesn't sign a 6-year deal.
Well, if he's been supporting a Liverpool shirt since when that picture that came out that he was 8 years old, if he's been using us since then bloody hell, Asim, that's some way of enticing us. But no, I think the Colwell interest was there, and you got whatever you hear his agent's been called Liverpool or this and that and whatnot. Maybe there was something there. But look, I'm sure there's a list of players that these guys are going to target in the next 2-3 weeks. And listen, we just got to trust it. As of now, we've still got to trust it.
Yeah. Well, Avi, but the thing is, look, Liverpool have been talking about Lavia. We don't value him at 50 million, this and that. I think Liverpool got 10, 15 million extra for Fabinho. So you can't have it both ways.
You can't.
If you have spent 50 million on Lavia, then you should be if you got 40 million for Fabinho, then you should be giving 50 million for Lavia. This is it. This is the market. Well, you can't just talk about value when you're bringing people in. It just doesn't work, and that's what frustrates fans.
It doesn't make sense if you're prepared to pay 42 million and they want 50 million. I don't understand the difference of 7-8 million. But listen, he's a player that you wanted. You've spoken to a player. He's 19 years old. The player's already got his heart set on Liverpool. You're not telling me that the club's telling him, listen, if we don't pay the 50 million, we don't want you. I don't understand how that works. So I think it's a deal that will get done. You got to presume that they'll wear Southampton down one way or another. We'll end up paying the money that they need, and they'll get this over the line. You just got to believe that.
Look, Avi, okay, question. Look, if we ask him question, we all know sort of Lavia will more or less get done in the next few days. Who else are we going to go and sign? And don't give me this Liverpool going to out of the blue like a dom. It's going to happen like this, bang, 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 and it's going to happen. Because there's no, in terms of centre-backs, who else can you sort of get? Avi, chill out, Avi. I've seen your face, relax. Yeah? Who, in terms of centre-backs, are we going to go and sign?
I cannot believe, Gene, that Liverpool have not made their move for Gonzalo Inacio. I've done a tweet today as well. For the last week or two, I've been doing a bit of digging up about him. He suits every single thing, every single aspect of our new system, where we've got a guy who likes to defend. He's versatile on right back, left centre back. He can play more or less any position. And we are leaking goals. I don't know why we're not going for him. This guy has everything. This guy can play in the first phase. He's got the great switch to Salah. Robertson, you see Robertson play. If he's standing alongside the centre backs, he doesn't have that switch. And I can talk about Gonzalo Inacio all night if you like, but he's the perfect fit for Liverpool. And again, I come back to this sort of frustration amongst fans is he ticks all the boxes. What are we waiting
40
for?
million release clause.
40 million release clause.
But it
Go
might
behind.
be, it might be that the analytical team and the Liverpool team, they don't rate him, Asim. It might just be that. Have you ever thought? Okay, we look at all these players, yeah, and we will tweet. I'll tweet about youngsters all day long and come back to it after a couple of years and say, why don't we
That's
go?
your new
Why
job
don't
now,
we-
isn't it? After that's your new job.
That's
after
what, yeah,
playing 90 days.
regurgitating rubbish,
become a-
regurgitating to tea, right? So basically, I'm telling you that it might be that he's just not on our radar, Asim. You know, there were rumors that we liked Antonio Silva of Benfica, but he's got like a 60, 70 million pound release clause. We cannot predict what this club is doing right now. We can't even become chances. ITK game is in the mud. We can't even take a chance saying, oh, I think they like this player. I think they might go for him. We don't know. The only player that we know is Lavia.
Sarib, who do Liverpool rate? Tell me. So he has to be a very good player. He has to be a very good player. He has to be the sweet spot of 30, 40 million. We also have to pay that sort of fee over 4 or 5 years. How many players are you going to shortlist that tick every single box? You sometimes have to believe in that signing, believe in the player, and press the button. And if you have to take a risk, you go for it. But Avi, you're an assault guy. I can't take Avi seriously tonight, sorry. I'm sorry.
When we want a player, it's always, Liverpool like the idea, or they're interested in this player, or they're scouting the player, or they are looking at the player. When is it Liverpool are set to sign? Liverpool agree a fee. We see that like twice every year, if that. That's the problem. We never actually put the money on the table, which is the whole conversation. Avi, there was a comment I saw earlier, about I know this keeps entailing back to FSG because this is the main factor of everything.
Sarib's not finished yet. Sarib's not finished.
I'm not even trying to say
not finished.
Regardless of the player, the owners are what gives us the money, but they don't. There was a comment about how many games does John W. Henry attend. He owns the business. He owns Liverpool as a business. How many games does he come to every season? 1, 2, if that. If we make a final or the last game of the season,
9-0 last year.
Yeah. And we should be available in the market because how have Newcastle been sold before us? Well, are we a less attractive club than Newcastle? I don't think so.
Because they went dirt cheap. That's why. Because the Newcastle owner Mike Ashley wasn't asking for £4 billion as I did. That's why they got sold. And there's a lot of potential in Newcastle. The stadium as well, St James's Park, 55,000 seater. There's a lot of it's a sleeping club, Newcastle, and we won't be sleeping for much longer. Not with the amount of investment that's coming.
Avi, Newcastle. Mike Ashley did not want to. He didn't break the transfer record for Newcastle for so many years. I think only until 2020, their record signing was Michael Owen, which was 2003 or 4. You can correct me, because I was very young then. But no, Newcastle are not more attractive than Liverpool. They might be a lot cheaper than us, but what do you expect? Our revenue is always high. We make a lot of shirt sales. The players that we sign tend to be of a higher caliber than what Newcastle are able to attract. But within 2 years, that's completely changed. Players like Bruno Guimaraes, Sandro Tonali would have been players that we'd be looking at, but now they're going to Newcastle. Newcastle, I don't think was even up for sale because Mike Ashley was delaying the sale of Newcastle for years and years and years and years. Of course, they're going to cost a lot less than us. They're not as big as a club of us. No disrespect to Newcastle, but they're not as big as a club as Liverpool. So, are you telling me that no suitable offer for Liverpool has come in, or FSG just don't want to sell the club? Like you can't own a club of Liverpool and then shop in Asda. That doesn't make sense because if you want to deliver successful Liverpool,
I like that.
Yeah, honestly, you need to go to Waitrose. You need to go Waitrose and Marks and Spencers. You can't be shopping at Tesco and Asda if you're in Liverpool. We are a Waitrose type of club. We're not an Asda Sainsbury's type of club. And we keep doing this. We're gonna. Yeah, I should be the new sporting director. Yeah, because I'd solve all the problems at this club.
We've been talking about.
I just want to address. Let the president please address this question. Nilotpal Datta, thank you for tuning in. I hope I said your name properly. And sorry if I didn't. Why is this blue chip? Yeah, why is this blue chip defending FSG? Okay, first and foremost, I've always got to play the devil's advocate. All right, and today I've played that role. So I'm happy to get cooked today. I am not defending FSG. And if you look at my posts on Twitter, at the end of every window, I have said it's negligence at its finest that we haven't spent, right? That we've shortchanged Klopp. That a man of this guy, that a man of the man that we have at the helm, that we haven't given him the right tools, the right materials in the last 2 summers to go out and go and challenge Man City, right? He's done it off his own back, right? If this happens again, then by God, I will start a movement. How's that? I will start. I promise to God, my left hand here. I will start a movement against FSG if we shortchange Klopp again. We need 3 players in. Make no mistake about it. If it doesn't happen, then just watch out for my Twitter. Watch out for this movement on the 1st of September. I promise you, it's coming.
2 weeks ago, he was saying 2 players is enough. 1 week later, now 3 players. And he wants to start a movement. Lads, nothing is happening when it comes out of his mouth. Anyway, Asim, carry on.
Avi, you've been talking about left-sided centre-backs. City have got a number of them that they might need to sort of let go of one or two of them. But here's a name that I'm going to throw at you. Would you take him for around about 30 million? And would they sell to us? Aymeric Laporte.
Lovely footballer. I think the ACL. I think the ACL has hampered his progress. He hasn't looked the same since coming back. I think it's been 2 years now, I think it's been the best part of 18 months. They won't sell to us, Asim. They won't sell to us. I think he's a great footballer, though. Great footballer.
Sarib,
a product of Bilbao, if I'm not mistaken. A product of Bilbao as well.
They won't sell to us, Sarib? Do you think?
I don't think we should be looking at Aymeric Laporte because we're trying to get to Man City's level. For me personally, why would we go and take their B team or C team players?
Because he's better than bloody half of them.
I understand.
He is still.
You would take Laporte at 30 million right now.
Sarib, just to remind you, he's still one of the best sort of ball-playing centre-backs, left-footed ball-playing centre-backs in the Premier League.
But I'm not disputing that. But there's a reason why Man City are trying to get rid of him because he's not up to their level. So, and we're trying to reach their level.
We're not up to their level though.
We're trying to get there.
Doesn't matter if he's gonna improve our side, and you believe he's gonna improve our side, you go and buy that player. Especially if we're saying we can't sign players around 70, 80 million. If a Laporte is available at 30 million, and not that they're gonna sell him to us, you'd bite everybody hand off.
But Gene, I don't think Laporte's been the same though since that ACL. To be honest,
he probably hasn't, Avi. But believe you me, he's better than Matip and he's better than Gomez.
I don't know what you're saying. Yeah. I know absolutely what you're saying. But honestly, our main aim as a football club is to go and win the title. We can speak about top 4, but we've had 1 season out of the race of the Premier League title. Who knows? Next season it could flip. I don't think it will, but it can happen. If it can flip one way, it can flip the other way very, very easily. The reason why Arsenal did not win the league last season is because they signed Jesus and Zinchenko, 2 players that Man City deemed not appropriately fit for the club. They got rid of them and Arsenal went and signed them. You speak about Arsenal not winning the title. The reason they didn't win the title.
Yeah, but sorry, Zinchenko until 3-4 weeks to the end of the season was probably one of the most integral parts in the Arsenal team.
Yeah, but they were second. They were second though.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, I would not be looking at the team I'm trying to compete with and sign their B grade players. That's me personally, because I want players that can compete with their first team players. And I don't think Laporte is up to the level of, the players they're playing now. Gvardiol, Diaz, Ake.
Yeah, of course.
I'll tell you what's a good shout. I'm not sure if you guys would agree, but I think he's available for about 25-30 million. Andres Christensen of Barcelona, the former Chelsea defender.
He's not available, man.
Not quick enough for me. Playing that high line.
Good centre back. Very good.
I think he's a great centre back. I think he's very underrated.
Where would you play him?
I'd play him as cover, either cover or he'll definitely get his game time, or play him on the right hand side.
He knows the back 3 system very well as well. He's played in the back 3 under Conte.
He does it at Barca, with Alejandro Balde and Arujo as the wing backs.
Him playing the system is not going to be. It's not going to be hard for him to understand because he's playing.
Here's a good point. City took Kovacic.
Kovacic was on his last year of his contract as well. Yeah. So I think they just had to. That's been all weird because Havertz has left Chelsea to go Arsenal.
I'll be 1 second. We don't want to take Christensen. We don't want to take Laporte. There's probably other players that you don't want to take. Oh, Gerard, who do you want us to buy then? You Guardiola's out of the equation. Which players do you want us to buy? You don't want half of these players.
No, Asim has mentioned that he likes Max Kilman of Wolves. That's a good shout. He's a good defender.
All right, buy Max Kilman from Wolves then.
I'm just not keen
He's
on
on the
buying
call.
from our rivals that are not starting for them. I want a player that we just sweep out their first team, but we can't do that. I don't want to sign bench players for the team we're trying to get, for the level we're trying to get to, because we will never become that level if we sign players that are not playing in the 11 for we're trying to compete with.
You know, if we find,
but Man City, look, Asim, 1 second. But Man City players are generally first team players if you're signing their second string. That's just now Forden hasn't played half. Their second string team is good enough for our first team, and sometimes you've got to accept it. Not that we're going to buy any of their players, and I get why people don't want them, don't want them players because they played for City. But the truth is, we don't have the luxury right now. Otherwise, you're going to be shopping at Wolves and this type of stuff, and we can't even do that right now. We're buying players from relegated clubs.
14 months ago, we were 1 point behind Man City. Just one. I do not want to go and sign their bench players. We're trying to get. We were on their level at 1 point. We finished 1 point behind them twice. Why on earth am I looking at their bench to improve our first team? To me,
because we can't afford the likes of Guardiola. We can't afford the likes of Colwill. I just don't see it.
We need new owners. That's the brunt of it. No, I've said it though. I've said it. We need new owners. I've said it though. The brunt of it is we need new owners to compete with the likes of Chelsea, Manchester City. There's no point of building a 60,000k stadium and having all these commercial deals if we're still dealing at scrap and deals. If we're looking at loan deals.
So it's not Klopp then. We don't need a new manager.
I think Klopp can be very. What's the word that I'm looking for? I think he can be very stubborn as well. But it's obviously more on the owners, isn't it? The onus is on them.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think Klopp has helped matters either, though.
Yeah, 100%. Look, we're not saying that, but 100% the onus and the responsibility. That's the word that we should be using. The responsibility lies on the owners to back this manager. Super chat? Have we got a super chat? Brilliant. Yeah. There we are. Jamrock, thank you very much. Never seen him in the comments before, but thank you very much for your super chat and welcome to BNR. He goes, what's the commonality of our all centre-backs is in the senior team and the academy is 6'3" and taller. You guys are just throwing any centre-backs out there, Colwill type of profile. How tall is Colwill?
He was 6.
Right now.
It's about my height, I think.
Huh?
5'1".
5'11", isn't he? 5'11", 6 foot.
5'1", but with a big head if it's up John Henry's ass. Sorry, Abby.
6'2".
Don't say sorry to me. Say sorry to the Abu Zara mosque that you're going to tomorrow when they listen to the show.
They won't go to bed now. They go to bed at 9 o'clock.
I know. I'll share it to them.
I mean, look, this. If someone can get the comment back up, he's saying, look, we're not throwing out any left-sided centre backs. We're not Jamrock. What we want is an astute centre back who can defend first and foremost. But if he's going to replace this Robertson role, then what we need is a player who is progressive, because we're a team who plays on the front foot. We're going to have 70-80% of the possession against 90% of the teams on week in, week out. So we need a player who's comfortable on the ball, who can play and get involved in triangles, who can make progressive passes and break the lines. And if the press is so much, you've seen Guardiola and the likes of Ake, who can have that switch to the likes of Robertson. And what's happened when we've changed the system is we've lost that ping from Van Dijk. Van Dijk in the normal 4-3-3, a conventional 4-3-3, used to have that angle a lot more because his natural tendencies was to come to the left when Robertson pushed on. And we had that switch. How many times have you seen Arteta say, Liverpool, doesn't matter how much you press them, they've got that Van Dijk switch to Salah and they're out of it. And they're on to goal. And we're turned away towards our own goal. But if Robertson is playing, if Van Dijk is playing in this system, his general pings and long passes are straight. And we don't want that. And if that's going to happen, then with the onus and the responsibility lies upon the left side, is centre-back, to provide that switch or play to get us out of sort of high pressing situations. So this is what we want. And Robertson, to his credit, is a legend of the club and been a brilliant servant to the club. But sometimes it's horses for courses, and certain profiles don't fit certain things. And what we need at the moment is a centre-back who can defend, is good in the air, and can play those passes, and is comfortable in the first phase of football. And if we do sort of, come up against low blocks, then we can use a certain profile like Robertson to really go and join those attacks in the last phase of the attacks. Just like Arsenal have, they've got a perfect blend. They've got Zinchenko and Tierney, a guys who are good on the ball, a guys who loves to go up that flank. On the other side in sort of City, they've got Guardiol. They've got who's the other kid on the other side, Walker. So they've got different profiles. And at the moment, Liverpool, that squad is already thin. And when you've got a thin squad, you don't have the adaptability, you don't have the options, and you don't have certainly the versatility. But I'll end my speech there again before Avi starts going crazy at me. But this is what we're not throwing any centre backs. What we need is a certain profile of player to come in and provide us that stability in the last line. So Robertson is not going, and it's not all his fault. He's not done a bad job, guys. And my sort of thing is with Jurgen Klopp, if you've got a player who's struggling, don't send him forward. We've only got 2 players in the last line of defense. That's on Klopp as well. If he's struggling, just make him play a bit more positional, so we're not getting caught by one ball every single time. Because there's been, a theme amongst pre-season, and it'll be the same again if we don't continue to playing a bit more control and paying a bit more respect to the opposition as well. Because we can't go gung ho all the time.
No, respect to Asim, and I think a lot of us. No, to be fair, I think everybody agrees with what you've said, and I think this is the biggest issue. We just want a bit more control. We just don't want, Robbo. And I'm completely with that. This is why it's so important for us to sign a left-footed centre back, because I feel this is what we're lacking. But I think that's the wrap, man. I think we need to call it a day.
Hour and a half, as Ben says. Great stream tonight, lads. Thank you very much for supporting us, Ben, as well, all the time, showing his love and support. Avi, I think you should do I've just done a bit of a Martin Luther King speech. I need a sip of water. I think you should do the outro tonight. But what's the plan for this week? Can we share it with our viewers?
Hopefully you're not on. That'll be a start. I think tomorrow post-match, Monday, I think we'll be back, and then I think Evan might be starting a show on Friday. Not sure. He wanted to do some statistics and stuff, and I think he should definitely go for it. And then I think we'll do a midweek Wednesday, Thursday. Gene should be back from Turkey on Tuesday, and and then we'll do a pre-match Chelsea pre-match and a post-match Chelsea. Who's going out of you two again?
I'm doing the Chelsea.
Asim's going to the game.
Take it. So me and Gina will have to do me, Gina, and Sarib on the post-match. Great. Gina will be hosting actually his first show on Sunday as well. So. He's been preparing for it. He's got all these graphs and charts ready.
Can you just imagine his intros and outros? There'll be rants. Bloody subscribe to the channel right now. Can you just imagine? We'll leave them till next season.
Thank you for liking and subscribe, guys. Make sure you like and subscribe. Fabrizio was on. Give us a little bit here and there, saying that we are going to go for this third bid. Hopefully, it's third time lucky for Lavia. And over and out. Thank you, guys. Great night. Keep blessed. Thank you. Bye bye.
Take care. Bye bye.